She just did this trying.
Hi, I am gonna do another little creative vlog today. I'm planning on making this skirt, but I want to do like a light pink, really like soft, very feminine, low-waisted but like really maxi dress. And then I'm thinking I may embroider the bottom of it, potentially. I think we're just gonna make the skirt first and then we'll potentially embroider depending on how it goes when it's made. But I've got this idea of it like being really kind of like feminine and sexy and just like hanging off the hips a bit. So I'm gonna go back to the fabric store now and grab some fabric. Okay, we're out. I ended up doing that like super light, musky sort of pink color. And then I just got a kind of thicker elastic than I would usually use because I want the waistband to sit really like, guys, I've parked right at the front door and I keep getting people watching me filming. Anyway, this is the like most perfect match ever. I'm really happy with it. Anyway, we're gonna go get started and get into it. I honestly don't think this is gonna take too long to whip up, but famous last words. Hi, I have just made a cup of tea and one of my lemon and ginger teas that I make, but it is pretty rubbish weather outside, hence the jumper. It's kind of perfect sewing weather. So I think we're gonna start off that skirt that I was talking about. Now I want, excuse the fit, but I want it to really like sit on the hips, like along here. So we're gonna take measurements of my hips to make the fabric, to make the elastic, sorry, the right width. So then when we attach the fabric to it, it's gonna sit on my hips really nicely and kind of like on the hips rather than like stretched out to the hips, if that makes sense. I'll try and put in a photo of like what I mean by that. Okay, so I want it sitting like really on the hips like that. Cut that. So that's going to go around the top. That's going to make the waistband of the skirt. Yeah, super. Okay, so now that we've got both sides cut out, I'm just going to sew along the side seams of them, just so I can get a bit of a feel for how wide I want the fabric and how flowy I want it. Because I can always go in and add in like a French seam, which is like a seam and then another seam over the top of it. But it just obviously uses a bit more fabric. So it's like a very tidy look, but if you don't have enough fabric for it, then it won't work. So we're gonna just do a standard side seam now and then see how it looks once I've done that. So now that I've sort of like sized up the skirt to make sure that it fits my hips how I want it to, I had a little play around with the waistband of it just to see if I do definitely want it the way I had it in my head, and I think I do. I've got an idea to add on an adjustable or like removable section, but stay tuned for that. For now, we've got our long piece of waistband and we're just going to zigzag along here to attach that so that it's like one big circle. So from when I was trying it on before, I marked off here, which is where I want the waistband to sit pretty much. So I'm just gonna mark it on the other side now so it's easier for me to sew. Okay, so our next step is to attach the waistband to the skirt. I don't want there to be visible stitching on the top of the skirt. So the way I'm gonna do it is, so currently we've got right sides together. We're gonna stitch along the outside so that it's actually like an invisible seam, if that makes sense. So essentially, it's gonna be stitched like that. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna pin this to it so that I can sew along only the inside. Pinned along the top, and now it's time to sew it into place. Ta-da! And then we'll try it back on and see where we're at. So loving where it's sitting, so your elastic's definitely right, but I don't want this like white line that's here. So I'm gonna just brainstorm a few ideas on how we're gonna get rid of that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, because I want to get rid of that like white strip that's gonna sit at the top, is pull up a bit of the top of it to cover like that, and then stitch along here so that it's pretty much gonna like be a little casing for the elastic. So that's how she's looking now. I think that's gonna be a lot more successful than it was. This is genuinely exactly what I had in my head. Okay, so now all we have to do is hem the bottom, and I also want to finish off the insides as well. Before I do the insides, I'm actually going to also do a stitch just along this inside hem here, just for more security, just to keep it down. Okay, so see how the sides are all like, yeah. If I had a serger, these would just be serged when I sewed them, but obviously I don't. So I'm just going to do a zigzag along the edges of these just to tidy it up a bit. Okay, so I'm going to take about that much off for the hem, and then I'll do a rolled hem. I'll do a rolled hem along the bottom so that it has like a nice flowy aspect to it. You'll see once I make it. Okay, hem is done. I'm really considering making a matching top to go with this as well. I think that could be really cute. Okay, you might see me tomorrow to make a top, and I'll shoot these as well for EMI. Yeah. Hi girls. Okay, so it is a day after. Now I did a little poll for the matching top to go with the skirt. So this was kind of what we were doing. I decided to choose between 3 options, like a halter neck, a one shoulder, and like a off the shoulder little situation. But the winner was the one shoulder. So my inspiration is this kind of top. I've got a one shoulder top that I think I'm just gonna copy the shape of onto the fabric that we've got already. So we're gonna get into that today. And then honestly, I don't think it'll take very long. I just really have to do straps and like the front piece, and then I wanna keep it pretty like backless, I think. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, so this is the top I'm going to copy. And then I just wanna do like really simple straps around the back that are gonna like cinch it in and hold it in place. So I've got these offcuts still from the bottom of the skirt, so those are going to be the straps. I'll just cut them really thin so they're like a nice little spaghetti strap. The only difference is this is quite thick and I don't want it to be that thick for what we're doing, so I'm just going to have the top about that wide. I'm just going to pop a few pins in through the middle of this just so that it like stays how it's supposed to.
These are the kind of renderings of what we have. If I can cream, I'll get to see examples of them so far. I thought would be really cool because we have such low ceilings downstairs. Kind of going for that like old English countryside chest of drawer vibe when it comes to sinks. And this is
very happy.
It's wrecked.
Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out how I want the back to look. I know I want it relatively open and just like maybe 2 or 3 straps in the back. So I'm thinking maybe like from the top a really long strip to like the side, and then from the side to the back, to the other side, sorry, and like tie it like that maybe. That could work. Okay, I've just gone through and quickly sewed around the top 3 edges. So we're going to turn this inside out and then play around with a few straps. I've left a few little gaps for where I think the holes should go. Okay, I love. I'm going to keep the bottom 2 separate sections rather than sewing it as one. And I'll just like overlock it so it's got that same like flowy bottom as the skirt has. Okay, hair's gone up so I can get a better look. Okay, so I think we need straps here, strap here, obviously. And then maybe one like that as well. So I've just been having a little look through my little like odd end sewing stuff that I've got, and I found this like bias binding that I had from a different project. So I think I'm actually going to use this as the straps because I need a lot of it, and I was beginning to cut out straps for myself. And I think it's just going to be so much easier to use this. And it's a pretty decent colour match. That kind of looks like ribbon. And I'm just going to fold it over and sew like a ton of strips like that. Okay, I've just added the first strap. I'm going to cut a little bit of this off to be a loop to thread through. So we're going to sew that into the side of the top pretty much. Okay, stitched in, so if we flip this inside out there should be a loop. Okay, there she is! Wait, why is this so cute? So I'm going to do another loop on the opposite side, but I'm just going to repeat that on the other side. Okay, so we've got the second loop. We're going to feed this through. So that's the back so far, and then I think I want to add 2 in at the waistline as well because I've got enough. So I may as well, and it's going to really cinch the waist in nicely. So we're just going to cut 2 more little tiny loops off the ends of this. Okay, our 2 other little loopies are on now. I'm just going to thread this through. I think we're going to just tie a nice big bow at the bottom. Just end it with a little bow. Oh my gosh, it's really cute. Okay, I'm just going to finish the bottom hem. I will zigzag all the insides as well. So that's just going to tidy it up and also give our loops a bit more strength as well. So you see here, I'll like even that out so that the loop and the seam are the same length, and then zigzag over the whole lot just to give it more strength and just clean it up a bit as well. Okay, I've just done the final stitch. Turning her back inside out. She is. Okay, I think it's time to try it all on. I just wanted to end this video off here and say thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!